If you're more of a visual learner, check us out on YouTube where we draw out details of the PMP exam. Find us at PM Notebooks and subscribe. The link is also in the details of this podcast. This is the PMP in the Snap. Sneak in a quick lesson into your busy schedule so you can pass that exam. Let's snap in. Hey there, Project Rockstars. Welcome back to PMP in the Snap, the podcast that serves up project management wisdom with a little fun because, let's face it, PMP concepts can get a little dry, but that doesn't mean we have to be. I'm your host, Kaye B, and today we're diving into one of the biggest reasons projects succeed or completely fall apart, which is scope management. Have you ever been on a project where things just kept getting added? One day, you're building a website and suddenly your client wants an e-commerce store, a mobile app, and oh, can you make it run on AI too? That, my friends, is scope creep in action. And today, we're talking about how to manage scope like a pro according to the PMBOK guide. So, what is scope management? Simply put, scope management is all about defining what is and what is not included in the project. It's your blueprint, your guardrails, your polite yet firm way of telling stakeholders, no, we cannot turn this 2-bedroom house into a castle without adjusting the budget and timeline. Scope management helps us clearly define what needs to be done, avoid unnecessary work, looking at you, extra features no one asked for, and to keep projects on time and within budget. Now, let's break it down PMBOK style. There are 6 processes in scope management, and each plays a critical role in making sure your project doesn't turn into an ever-ending saga. Number 1 is plan scope management. Before you can manage your scope, you need a plan for how you're going to do it. This process answers how we'll define scope, who approves the changes, and how we handle scope creep before it eats our budget alive. Your scope management plan lives inside your project management plan and sets the rules for everything that follows. Number 2, collect requirements. This is where you gather everything the stakeholders think they want. You'll use techniques like interviews, asking stakeholders what they want, surveys, gathering broader inputs, workshops, getting everyone in the same room to agree on priorities, and document analysis, reviewing existing materials. The output? It's the requirements documentation and the requirements traceable matrix, that's a mouthful, which tracks every requirement from idea to implementation. Number 3 is define scope. Now that you have all the requirements, it's time to carve out what the project will actually deliver. The results? The project scope statement, which includes what the project includes, what the project does not include because boundaries matter, and acceptance criteria. This is your golden document for avoiding scope creep because it's not in the scope statement, it's not part of the project, period. Number 4 is create work breakdown structure or WBS. Now this is one of my favorite project management tools. The work breakdown structure takes the scope and breaks it down to bite-sized manageable pieces. Think of it like a cake. The whole cake is your project, each slice is a major deliverable, and then each bite is smaller work packages assigned to teams. The WBS ensures that everything gets done without anyone feeling overwhelmed. Plus, it's a PMP exam favorite, so know it very well. Number 5, validate the scope. You built the thing, now does your stakeholder actually accept it? This process is about getting formal approval on deliverables. You'll need work results to review, sign-offs from stakeholders, and inspections or user acceptance testing. Skipping this step is dangerous because without approval, you risk finishing a project only to hear, this is not what we wanted. Yikes. Number 6 is control scope. Last but not least, keeping the scope in check. This process is all about monitoring for scope creep and making sure any requested changes go through formal perform integrated change control before being added. If someone wants to add a new feature, you say, great, let's submit a change request and assess how it affects cost, time, and resources. In other words, no sneaky additions. So my friends, that is scope management. It's what keeps your project on track and on budget. Without it, you're basically at the mercy of ever-changing requests, and that's a one-way ticket to missed deadlines and frustrated teams. Remember, you plan how you manage your scope, you collect clear requirements, define what's in it and what's out, break it down to manageable chunks, or WBS, validate deliverables with stakeholders, and keep control to avoid scope creep. Master these 6 processes and your project will run like a well-oiled machine. That's a wrap for today's episode of PMP in a Snap. If you're loving these quick, insightful breakdowns, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your fellow project managers. And if you got a burning PMP question and want me to cover any specific topics, let me know. You know how to find me. Either reply to this episode or send me an email. It's all in the description. Until then, keep managing like a pro, define that scope, and say no to scope creep. See you soon. Are you finding it hard to track what you need to focus on for the PMP? We got just the thing for you. Go to pmnotebooks.com and sign up to get a free PMP study planner. This planner is created to help you map out your attack on the exam so you can pass it on the first time. In addition, you'll get some bonus tips about the exam. The link is also in the podcast description.